Welcome to episode 96 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. This week, we have a couple of things on our plate. First, the Delta variant of COVID-19 seems to be flourishing in parts of the country where people are not getting immunized. There are stories of the CDC issuing guidelines that are a reversal of what they last said. When I hear people get upset about this, I tend to think they don't understand how science works, or how pandemics work for that matter. Science is not text that is chiseled into stone. Science is an ongoing, methodical approach to determining what is happening, how it is shifting, and how to best respond when that data is assessed. This pandemic is a new thing for most everyone involved, so we can't know many things about how it's going to play out. But people think that any change in direction is an admission of failure on the part of science. It is not. What the failure is that the same people who are furious about wearing masks and reject doing so are also furious about vaccines and reject getting one. I don't think anyone figured on this many people rejecting both masks and vaccines. I'm sure the models didn't take into account how many people feel it is their duty to take this stand. We are going back to masks because there are so many who refuse to be vaccinated. When the pandemic first began, we were told that we shouldn't wear masks. The reason they said this was because there weren't enough masks for healthcare workers and the general public, so they didn't want everyone buying them all up. When supplies were available, the advice changed. When the vaccines were rolling out at a fast pace, we were told that we didn't have to wear masks indoors if we were vaccinated. Then the Delta variant came along, and at the same time, we hit a brick wall with vaccines, since those who supported the previous leader feel that this is their way to show him their love by not getting a vaccine. Who knew that people whose lives had been turned upside down by the pandemic would reject the solution when it came along? So now it looks like we may have to go back to wearing masks indoors. Frankly, I have not stopped wearing my mask when inside stores because I know the percentage of adults in my community who have been vaccinated, and it isn't 100% as all the naked faces in stores would seem to suggest. It was always going to be difficult because the suggestion that only the unvaccinated wear masks was never going to happen. They are in complete denial about the entire pandemic, so there's no chance that they're going to wear the masks that they don't think will work on what they believe to be a hoax. We are seeing more information about people who are rejecting the vaccines even after being hospitalized with the virus. One man said he wouldn't be getting the vaccine, this is after a long hospital stay, because he thought it was being shoved down his throat. I would imagine that his hospital stay included some shoving of things down his throat and elsewhere. Another aspect that should be factored in is that the vaccine is free, but the medical care required if not vaccinated may be on you. It just seems financially prudent, if nothing else. We are getting such an upfront and personal look at the difficulties ahead as we, the students in this school, are given challenges that we must face and solve while dealing with people who are at all different points in their spiritual awareness progression. Those who are at the higher levels will do whatever it takes to end the suffering for themselves and others. Those at the lower levels are still so firmly planted in their egos that they have no concern for anyone but themselves. And part of being at the lower end of the spiritual awareness spectrum is that you actually get a charge out of causing harm to others. It is sad, but unavoidable. They are here, and we need to figure out how to stay safe while working around them. Some have the too late deathbed conversions, but many will not. It would be one thing if their choices only affected them, but they don't. They are allowing the virus to use their bodies to grow, mutate, and spread. They put us all at risk. We don't get to tap out on this one. We don't get to become exasperated by the changes that come up and decide to just drop it. We have to go where the science leads us, and we have to use our best thinking to outmaneuver both the virus and those who are happy to spread it. It's an embarrassment that there are countries where people would do anything to have any form of protection, and we here have it, and many won't even accept the help. I guess that is one of the many problems of privilege. You can just ignore the stakes. Let's talk about the stakes. Those who believe that we should be vaccinated against COVID-19 believe that if we don't, we may die. Those who do not believe we should take the vaccines believe that if we get the vaccine, it may kill us. And this choice, at least currently, is being left up to our free will. So let's walk all the way through this. What is at stake here? What does death even mean in the system? In the system, you will live the number of lives you need to live to reach your highest level of spiritual awareness. For some, this may be a few lives. For some, it may be many. For most, the average will be 9 or 10. In the course of those lives, you will need to learn all the lessons, feel all the feelings, and strip away everything that is not love. You will be left, once you reach the highest levels of awareness, feeling nothing but love and compassion for yourself and others. So, what if you took the vaccine and died? You would have left here, this time, demonstrating your concern for the well-being of yourself and others who are at risk. The choice you made would reflect your intentions more than it would reflect on the scientists or healthcare workers that made the vaccine available to you through the intense study of how the Creator's world works. This would be leaving on a high note. It would be an act that moves you to a higher level. If you refuse the vaccine and then die from the virus, you leave here having used your free will to disregard your well-being and the well-being of others. You would have demonstrated through intent that you are still at the lower levels where no one else matters, and that your ego is more important than the collective good. This is leaving on a sour note, to say the least. Those who died from the virus before they could use their free will to alter the outcome would have a neutral departure and will just continue the work they are doing from whatever level of spiritual awareness they inhabited when they left, in the next life they inhabit. In all cases, death is not the end of anything. It is the transformation that will take you to your next adventure. The Creator is not pulling individual strings, deciding who dies and who does not. Before you came here, you decided how long your stay in this school would be. That is your natural exit date. But since we have the chaos factor of free will in this school, you can die as a choice you made with your free will, or from the choice someone else made with their free will. You could either choose to do something life-threatening and lose that gamble, have an unavoidable accident, or you could choose an early exit at your own hand, which is not your natural exit date, nor was it part of your original plan. Someone else can choose to do something that directly threatens your life or indirectly threatens your life through either bad intentions, thoughtlessness, or through a mistake. In all cases, the Creator has an expectation that you will learn how the world works, that you will take the time to understand the laws of nature, and that you will then use your awareness to make the best choices you can with the information you have at the time. We have a responsibility to work within the system, not ignore or disregard the system as it has been created. It is an insult to say during a worldwide pandemic that you don't need a vaccine because you have the blood of Christ protecting you. First off, the Creator doesn't love anyone who identifies as Christian any more than the Creator loves every other person who doesn't identify as such. Everyone on the planet is of equal value in the eyes of the Creator. It's quite telling that many organized religion folks bank on the Creator liking them better than anyone else, saving them instead of anyone else, when that is just a reflection of how they feel about the rest of humanity that is all from the exact same source. What they are telling you is that they identify as being special and of more value. They believe that only they are worth saving. But this is a test of how the entirety of this planet can deal with a challenge. No one has special protection. The best protection that is available right now to anyone and everyone is to rely on what the scientists know. The scientists who spend their entire careers studying the natural laws of the world that the Creator designed. And this will not be the last challenge that we face as inhabitants of this particular planet. Climate change and the destruction it brings does not respect boundaries any better than a virus does. As in all challenges, we get the tap on the shoulder, then a bit of a shove, and it just keeps increasing until we take a brick to the side of the head. With the pandemic, we will see the virus mutating into a stronger, more lethal foe. We will see the exhaustion of all of our healthcare resources, and we will take an ever-increasing financial hit the longer that there are those who feel it is their duty to petulantly deny its existence. We will see people who have been vaccinated, along with those who are still too young to get vaccinated, made sick by those who are in denial. Our job is to figure out how to find workable solutions when the opposition is dead set against any sort of solution. This will be our work too, with climate change and the many social issues that continue to plague us. I wish I could tell you that there is a magic formula to help us do that, but we need to work with the world the way it is, not the dream world we wish we lived in. We need to understand that those who are still at the lower levels of spiritual awareness do not yet have the honesty, integrity, or empathy that is needed to make good choices. They do not have the ability to be wrong and then course correct, which takes humility. They are not open to information from other people. They don't care how their actions affect others. They don't believe in checks and balances. And the hardest part of all is that they will continue to lie and lead others down dark paths without an ounce of regret or shame. They are not capable of regret or shame. These emotions that help us to regulate our behaviors are not yet a part of their wiring. I watched the Capitol police officers testify as to their experience during the insurrection of January 6th. It was gut-wrenching. But by that evening, there were those on television mocking them and trying to convince people to deny their experience, to reject the need to find out what really happened and who was involved in making it happen. It is shameless. And that is how those at the lower levels of spiritual awareness operate. The sad thing is that they are dragging many people down with them. I've known people who have loved ones whose devotion to a particular television channel ended up turning them into dark souls who were unrecognizable. If you entertain the darkness for too long, the darkness will become one with you and use you to advance its agenda. All of this is part of free will. Everyone has the option to choose darkness or light. Everyone strengthens their position by what they devote their attention to. Everyone has this option. Everyone gets to use their free will to either retreat into the darkness or pull themselves further into the light and the truth. Those are the choices that mark the progression of your soul. Those are the choices that will inform the lessons you will need to learn in your next life and in this one. Everyone is going to figure this out eventually, but for some, it will take longer and involve more pain and anguish than for others. You get to choose your own adventure. Thanks for listening to Rebirth Revolution. I hope it makes sense of some of the insanity for you. You can always let me know how you're doing by emailing rebirthrev@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. We can be found on all the podcast apps, along with on Audible, Spotify, and Pandora. Full episodes play on YouTube, as well as on Facebook. Until next week, keep your face turned towards the light. Limit your exposure to those who see darkly. Get vaccinated if you haven't already. And wear your mask to stay safe. We need you in the revolution. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and tethered to reality.